Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. And I'll wait till a few folks come on and say hi and make sure you can see me and hear me. And I just want to remind you that if I happen to conk out, we've had some technical difficulties over the last couple of Facebook Lives. They just conked out for no reason that I know of anyways, and we tried to figure it out. And I don't know what happened. So if it happens again, just give me a minute and I'll start up again, okay? So if I just leave, I'm such a dinosaur. I have no idea what happened. But even our technical people can't tell me for sure because everything seems to be good. So, okay. Now, a couple of things. I wanted to do a couple of studies this morning. And one of the questions, and good morning, let me see, I didn't say hello. Rebecca and Jerry and Jane and Coleman and Penny and Jeanette. Nick, good morning to you. How are you? Okay, let me see. I missed people up here. Maria and Nellie, Roland and Judy and Sharon. You guys are great. Joy, Sandy, Nativity, Lucy, Judith, Rosa, and Michael from Wawa, Roma, Arlene. Okay, you guys are great. And I'll come on afterwards and say hi to you. Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple of studies. One of them on vitamin D this morning. Of course, there's, vitamin D, okay? You know the story of Linus Pauling, who won a Nobel Prize on his work on vitamin C, and good for him. He actually lectured to us in the 1970s, Linus Pauling on vitamin C. And I remember we had lectures on vitamin C from Linus Pauling, who got a Nobel Prize. And then we got lectured on vitamin E by the Shute brothers out of London, Ontario. They were cardiologists. And they talked about the importance of vitamin E. Not exercise, but the other vitamin E. You don't hear me talking about that too much. But, it was great. We were light years ahead of our time, getting these guys in and talking to us about vitamin C. Of course, I've replaced that with coffee. Coffee is better than vitamin C. It really is. Because it has vitamin C in polyflavonoids. And I talked to you about that. And I talked to you about the history of vitamin C and scurvy and Jacques Cartier. And I mentioned that to you. And they weren't given, a fruit. They were given pine bark extract. Jacques Cartier's men that had not died yet of scurvy, but they had scurvy. They hadn't died like 25 others, and they all recovered. And Jacques Cartier actually wrote about it. So I've told you that story. And the Shute brothers in London talking about vitamin E and how it's so good for the heart. And a lot of people in the 1970s started taking vitamin E. Good for them. But I've replaced that vitamin E with the Martin Clinic vitamin E, and that is exercise, because that's better than vitamin E. But what they didn't talk about is vitamin D. And like I said, they only missed out by one letter in the alphabet, one before it and one after it. It made a lot of ink but they missed out on vitamin D, and you are a human solar panel. Every cell in your body, especially your immune system, is actually looking. Did you get our newsletter the other day about vitamin D and your T cells? Your T cells literally go looking for vitamin D in order to get active. Your T cells are your Navy SEALs of your immune system, and they go after viruses, bacteria. And one thing we learned about COVID, people who have low levels of vitamin D do very, very poorly. They do very, very poorly. They're the ones who end up in the ICU. And I've said it, it's not shocking, but it really is reflective of our society. We're relying now on the vaccine to come out. And hopefully, with the vaccine, the world gets back to normal. I have my doubts, by the way. I have my doubts. I'm just going to say that. I have my doubts that once a vaccine is available, that whether that'll end this, the virus. But what they're not mentioning is the importance of vitamin D. That is a vaccine in itself. And surely if politicians were worried about our health, well then, why aren't they giving vitamin D out to everyone? Or at least recommending it? Yeah, they're looking for love in all the wrong places. Your body's immune system is fearfully and wonderfully made. It will take care of yourself. Now look, I mean, it doesn't mean you'll never get sick, but this is just a fact. And it's included in my homemade flu shot and COVID shot, homemade. I'm not telling you not to get the vaccine. I'll never do that. I'll never tell you not to get the flu shot. I won't do it. All I'm telling you is that no matter what you do, you still need to have high levels of vitamin D. Optimized. They've proven it. They've proven it not only for this virus, but for your immune system. Ladies, listen, if you can get your levels of vitamin D in the optimal range, your risk of breast cancer. I talked to you about this in October when we did a couple of sessions on everything breast cancer, because it was October is breast cancer month. Wear pink. Remember? But when your levels of vitamin D are optimized, your risk of breast cancer is reduced 62%, according to the most recent studies on vitamin D. And yet, you barely hear about it. And there's one thing I will say for sure. There's no money to be made in vitamin D. So you're not going to hear it from the pharmaceutical companies. Vitamin D. Not C. Not E. I've been saying this for a long time, by the way. Do I like vitamin C? I love vitamin C, yeah, coffee. It's a much more bioavailable polyphenol. Coffee has quercetin. Have you heard of quercetin? It's spelt with a Q. Quercetin. It drives zinc, which you should eat, by the way. Because zinc has got a lot of ink. They were using it with the malarial drug. The malarial drug doesn't work without zinc. How do you get zinc? You have to have vitamin S. Steak. Yeah. For those of you getting our new book, I got the alphabet on in the back of the book. The Martin Clinic alphabet. Okay? Thank you very much, by the way. We can't believe how fast the sales of the book went. We appreciate that. You have no idea. Thank you so much. You guys are great. It's encouraging me to write another book. Okay, but I said all that, and I didn't even give you the study. Sunlight exposure and vitamin D levels in nursing homes. Now, here's another Dr. Martin statement. Right? Here's another one. If I could take 2 vitamins into nursing homes, you know which ones they would be. Vitamin D and B12. If I could, and they should be given this every day in all senior homes. They should give it in school too. Vitamin D. But listen to this Swedish study. And that's why I wanted to bring it out. Sunlight exposure. And you know what I've said, okay? I would wheel out, anytime the sun was out, I would wheel out every senior in those senior homes and get them exposed to the sunlight. And it's too bad because that generation, okay, that generation are scared skinny of the sun. And their vitamin D levels are extremely low. Seniors today, 90-something% of them, and I mean that, have very poor levels of vitamin D. And they wouldn't even know it because nobody checks on it. Very few doctors are interested in your vitamin D levels. Your blood serum vitamin D. This Swedish study showed, let me just quote it to you. Sunlight exposure and increase in the vitamin D levels in nursing homes, 20 to 30 minutes outside. Okay, so what they did in the summer of 2018 in Sweden. So Sweden, for you, my American friends, probably has the same, not that I've been there, but I think it has pretty well the same winters that we do in Canada. It's cold. Okay. Canada hasn't got the memo about climate change. Okay. We didn't get that memo. We still get winter. The vast majority of Canada. Okay. Especially where I live in Northern Ontario. We never got the memo. Although this year it's been milder, right? But every year is different. Last year was horrendous. We don't get the memo. Anyway, don't get me going on climate change. Ooh. Okay, 20 to 30 minutes in the summer of 2018 in Sweden. They did a study, and they brought a certain group of seniors outside in the summer of 2018. They just brought them outside versus a group that didn't go outside. Okay? Here was the difference. Here was the difference. Huge increase in the group that went outside in the summer. A huge increase in 4 things. 1, their immune system. That following fall in Sweden, the group that got the sun in the summer, that went outside in the summer, every day that it was nice, they were outside. Guess what? Their immune system was 50% higher than the group that didn't go outside. 50%. Their mental health, their happiness, their lack of depression was lights out compared to the group that never went outside. Their blood pressure, comparatively to the other group, the ones that went outside, their blood pressure went down on average 10 points. It's incredible. Immune system, mental health, blood pressure. Here is another one. They measured their inflammation markers, their CRP, C-reactive protein, in Sweden. The group that went outside and got more vitamin D, their CRP went down, their inflammation went down. Guys, inflammation is not the root of disease, but it is certainly a huge factor in heart disease, in cancer, in Alzheimer's. Their inflammation, that silent inflammation, went down, all because of going outside. Now, if you have been following me, you know that I've talked about this many a time. You know that I would go into every senior home, and you know what is, I got to say this again. What is the tsunami in the world in which we live today? The tsunami that is coming from isolating seniors. I told my kids, don't you ever put me in a home. Because they're divided, they lock the doors. How many people have lost loved ones and they couldn't go see them? Heck, they hardly have a funeral anymore. Oh, because of the virus, we just can't have too many people and you can't come into the room. Ooh, I get crazy. So here's a study. Did you hear about it? Brought to you by the Martin Clinic. Because they won't do it. It doesn't get headlines. It should get headlines. Folks, follow the money. There's no money in vitamin D. People don't make money on vitamin D. Pharmaceutical companies cannot patent vitamin D. Now, of course, the best form of vitamin D is the sun. There's nothing like it. But if you ain't going to see the sun, you better get your vitamin D levels up. You know, I don't care if you take 75 vaccines. If you have low levels of vitamin D, your immune system isn't going to work. It is essential. And a lot of people, you know, they get a cold or whatever, they take vitamin C. I never found the other vitamin C, not coffee. I never found that to be that effective. Hey, I've been around a long time. It was never that effective. Vitamin C. And the other problem with vitamin C, the other vitamin C, the one you see on the shelves, the problem with it, it's not bioavailable. It comes out of your, well, first of all, do you know that vitamin C, if you look at the chemistry of it, the chemical makeup of it, it looks like sugar. You better not eat sugar and take vitamin C because your body will think it's sugar. I'm not against vitamin C, by the way. I like it in an intravenous fashion. You got cancer? I got no problem. You want to go and get vitamin C and get it shot in your veins? Go for it. I like it in massive doses. The problem is orally, when you take vitamin C and you want to get therapeutic doses, you get diarrhea because your body won't take that much unless you get it in intravenous. And the problem is that, number one, it's expensive. And two, I like vitamin D better. I like vitamin D better for a virus. I like vitamin D better for your mental health. I like vitamin D better for your T cells. And if you got cancer, you better make sure your Navy SEALs of your immune system, they're the ones that are going to go after viruses, bacteria, and cancer cells. I'm just going to say something. Every one of you out there, and see this face? Included, all of us today has cancer. Every one of us. You fight cancer every day. Every day. You have cancer cells. It's part of free radical damage. The day you're born, you start aging. You know, it's just the way it is. Right? It's the result of sin, S-I-N. And we're dying. Part of that death is cancer of cells at the cellular level. And that's all right. Fight it. Fight it. Don't feed it. And put your immune system at its highest level. And you'll never, ever, ever get your immune system to a high level without the solar panels inside your cells picking up vitamin D. What a study. I was excited to bring it to you. Because when I read it, I said, man, oh man, why wasn't this on every newscast? And if you can get in behind the headlines, when people get COVID today, it is literally Malpractice. It's literally malpractice not to give them vitamin D. And a lot of them are getting that. The president got it. He got vitamin D and zinc. His doctors knew. A lot of people, they're not getting that. I can't get over it. It is so well established. And it makes me angry. It does. Now, you guys know this, but you got to understand the general population, you know? Yeah. I was laughing the other day. A guy come out of the grocery store. He pulls down his mask to have a cigarette. Look, man, are you kidding me? Like, I had my eyeballs on him and I was not that far from him. He must have thought, what am I, crazy? Like, I felt like going over to the guy and saying, hello? What good do you think that mask is doing you? Don't worry about the virus. Worry about your smoking. Honestly. I'm very observant. It's part of my nature. But really, folks, are you kidding me? People today, I can't get over it. I talked to some people yesterday. And I said, well, it's well established. You know, it's well established. You need vitamin D, and you need it to be optimized. And I was explaining online the other day studies that have been done. And by the way, this is really important. I've talked to you about this a few weeks ago. Major study. You will have low levels of vitamin D if you consume high fructose corn syrup. And this is why a lot of people go, Doc, I'm taking vitamin D. How come my levels are not optimized? I said, what's your diet like? Are you a carboholic? Are you consuming too much sugar? You can't even absorb vitamin D properly if you're a bad eater. That was the headline that I brought to you. Vitamin D does not override a bad diet. I always start with your diet. And by the way, in food, the only way to get vitamin D3 is in the animal kingdom. Eggs, meat, and cheese. Of course, that doesn't replace the sun. And it doesn't replace a vitamin D supplement because we need that. See why kids would have such a low levels of vitamin D and their immune system and all that are not the way it should be? Because they eat too much sugar. And especially the antichrist of sugars. High fructose corn syrup. It's in everything. So you need your vitamin D. You need to optimize it. Now, some, very few, because remember what I said about vitamin D, it's a hormone. It's not really a vitamin. It's classified as a vitamin, but it's a hormone. And that's important to understand. Oh, doc, my vitamin D is too high. Well, you want it to be high, first of all. You want it to be optimized. And some people get too much, their levels of vitamin D get too high. You know why? Because your insulin's too high and you can get actually high levels of vitamin D. Now, it's not toxic, but you can get it where it's above what I like. And the problem is because you've got kidney issues. And the reason you have kidney issues is because of insulin. It's a classic sign that you have insulin resistance. You can have low levels of vitamin D and even higher levels of vitamin D, but you're not toxic with it. Listen, here's the studies that have been done on toxicity of vitamin D. They were done years ago. Here's what happens. If you take 50,000 international units a day, every day for 6 months. Now, who the heck does that? 6,000 IUs a day, every day, 7 days a week for 6 months. Then you could get toxic on vitamin D. You know what? Can I just say something? The waiting rooms are not full of people with high vitamin D. Oh, no wonder you're sick. It doesn't happen. So it really is a ruse. People say to me, oh, doc, my vitamin D is high. Okay, I was aiming high. It's like B12, I aim high. I want it optimized, therapeutic. Anyway. Okay. Once again, thanks so much for making the, we did a limited, because we were only given so many books. And they did it, really, the publisher, I'm telling you, the COVID has been crazy for, a lot of industry and even the publishing industry. And we were given a limited amount of books, and wow, we're just about sold out of that limited amount. We're just excited to tell you that we want to thank you for that. I personally thank you for that, okay? And we appreciate that. I mean, with very little marketing, that book just took off, and we appreciate that. Okay, now, we got some good things coming this week. Okay, some good studies. I had to bring you that one on this Swedish study on vitamin D. I just had to do it. You know what we really enjoyed and what we're really finding to be very popular is our question and answer Fridays. So if you have questions, don't be shy. We'll try and get at every one of them, okay, on Friday. And like I said, we really appreciate our Martin Clinic Facebook group. Invite your friends, invite your family to join that group. With this Facebook, pass it around. Share it with your friends and family. Okay? Share the message. Often won't be heard anywhere else, believe you me when I tell you that. Okay. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. God bless.